Sarah Jakes Roberts is one of the most influential voices in modern Christian ministry. Her story is both inspiring and relatable, not because it is one of perfection, but because it is one of redemption, resilience, and purpose. As the daughter of Bishop T.D. Jakes, many assumed that her life would be a smooth road, paved with privilege, faith, and ease. Yet her story demonstrates that even those born into religious households face real-life struggles, challenges, and choices. What makes Sarah's journey compelling is how she has transformed her trials into testimonies that now inspire millions across the world. In this video, we'll take you through the family of T.D. Jakes, his children, his wife, and everything you need to know about them. This video explores Sarah Jakes Roberts' life from her teenage years, her personal struggles, her evolution into adulthood, her career as an author, speaker, and preacher, her marriage to Touré Roberts, and her profound engagement in church ministry. In this video, our main focus will be on Sarah Jakes and Bishop T.D. Jakes as they both take center stage. We'll begin with Sarah, move into Bishop T.D. Jakes, and then cover the rest of the family. Teenage years, early struggles and challenges. Sarah Jakes was born on July 17, 1988 in West Virginia, USA, as the youngest daughter of Bishop T.D. Jakes and Sarita Jakes. Growing up in a well-known Christian family, Sarah was surrounded by the trappings of ministry life. Her father, Bishop Jakes, was already becoming one of the most prominent pastors in America, leading the Potter's House, a megachurch in Dallas, Texas. From the outside, it appeared Sarah had everything she needed for a perfect life: love, guidance, and spiritual covering. But life did not unfold as expected. At the age of 13, Sarah became pregnant, and by 14, she gave birth to her first son, Malachi. This became a defining moment in her life. Being a teenage mother, especially as the daughter of a famous pastor, was overwhelming. The situation placed her under public scrutiny and personal shame. She often recalls feeling isolated, misunderstood, and judged by both peers and society. Her teenage pregnancy not only challenged her emotionally, but also spiritually. She struggled with self-esteem and the weight of expectations. However, these years of difficulty laid the foundation for the authenticity she is known for today. Rather than allowing her mistakes to silence her, Sarah eventually used them as a platform to reach others who felt broken, abandoned, or disqualified from God's love. Transition to adulthood. Finding her identity. After high school, Sarah pursued higher education. She attended Texas Christian University, where she studied journalism. Although she had a natural gift for communication and storytelling, she still wrestled with her sense of belonging and purpose. By her early 20s, Sarah entered into marriage with NFL linebacker Robert Henson. Their union produced a daughter, Mackenzie, but the marriage was short-lived, ending in divorce. This was another difficult season for Sarah. She faced the pain of failed expectations, the stigma of divorce, and the responsibility of raising children while searching for her own calling. Yet in the midst of these struggles, Sarah began to discover her voice. She realized that her painful past, teen pregnancy, divorce, and feelings of inadequacy, was not meant to break her, but to equip her to minister to those who felt overlooked by traditional church culture. Career and ministry, becoming a voice of hope. Sarah Jakes Roberts began her career as an author and speaker, drawing from her personal life experiences. Her first book, Lost and Found: Finding Hope in the Detours of Life, 2014, became a powerful testimony of redemption. In the book, she shared her candid journey of brokenness, mistakes, and ultimately, transformation through God's grace. The book resonated deeply with young women and men who felt unworthy or stuck in cycles of failure. Her authenticity set her apart. Sarah didn't preach from a pedestal of perfection, but from the trenches of real life. She made it clear that God's love reaches people in their lowest valleys and lifts them up to purpose. In addition to writing, Sarah became a sought-after speaker. Her ability to combine humor, vulnerability, and biblical wisdom made her messages relatable across generations. She started speaking at conferences, women's events, and church gatherings, quickly rising to prominence as a fresh voice in ministry. By 2017, Sarah's ministry influence expanded when she partnered with her husband, Touré Roberts, to lead the Potter's House at 1LA in California. Together, they created a dynamic, multicultural, and multi-generational church that continues to attract thousands weekly, both in person and online. Their joint ministry emphasizes authenticity, healing, empowerment, and discovering God's purpose. Marriage to Touré Roberts. In 2014, Sarah married Pastor Touré Roberts, who was already a respected leader in Los Angeles. Their union was not just a romantic relationship, but also a powerful partnership in ministry. Together, they blended their families, raising 6 children in total. Their marriage symbolizes restoration and God's ability to give beauty for ashes. After experiencing divorce and the challenges of young motherhood, Sarah found in Touré a partner who valued her calling, her story, and her vision. Together, they have been instrumental in mentoring young couples, blending families, and teaching about healthy Christian marriages. Engagement in church and ministry leadership. Sarah Jakes Roberts is now one of the lead pastors of the Potter's House at 1LA and the Potter's House Denver, alongside her husband. Her role extends beyond preaching. She is a mentor, counselor, leader, and advocate for those who feel marginalized in society or in church spaces. Her women's conference, Women Evolve, has become a global movement. The conference empowers women to break free from cycles of shame, fear, and limitation. Through Women Evolve, Sarah has created a platform for women to embrace their unique identities, heal from past traumas, and step boldly into purpose. Her messages often address mental health, self-worth, relationships, and leadership, making her ministry holistic and practical. She speaks not only to spiritual needs, but also to emotional and social struggles. The legacy of Sarah Jakes Roberts. What makes Sarah's journey powerful is the contrast between where she started and where she is now. From being a teenage mother doubted by many, she has grown into a respected pastor, entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker. She represents resilience, second chances, and the power of God's grace. Her story reassures young women that mistakes do not define destiny. She embodies the truth that setbacks are often setups for comebacks. Through her books, sermons, conferences, and leadership, Sarah has become a role model not only to women, but to anyone who has ever felt broken. The life of Sarah Jakes Roberts is a living testimony of God's transforming power. From teenage struggles and public shame to becoming one of the most powerful voices in ministry today, she demonstrates how God can use the least expected people to accomplish great purposes. Her career as an author and preacher, her marriage to Touré Roberts, and her leadership in the church reflect a woman who has embraced her calling fully. Ultimately, Sarah's life points to grace. It shows that God's love covers every mistake and that purpose is never lost, only waiting to be rediscovered. Today, Sarah continues to inspire millions, reminding them that no matter how broken their past, God's plan is still intact. When the name Thomas Dexter Jakes, popularly known as Bishop T.D. Jakes, is mentioned, it resonates far beyond the walls of the church. For some, he is a preacher whose sermons ignite faith and inspire spiritual transformation. For others, he is a leader, entrepreneur, and cultural influencer who has extended the voice of the church into places that once seemed inaccessible. Over the decades, Bishop Jakes has carved out a legacy that intertwines ministry, leadership, compassion, and social empowerment. His life story is not just about success, but about persistence, vision, and faith in the face of adversity. Early life and humble beginnings. T.D. Jakes was born on June 9, 1957, in South Charleston, West Virginia, to Ernest and Odith Jakes. Raised in a working-class family, he was instilled with strong values of hard work, faith, and perseverance. His father, Ernest, owned a janitorial business, while his mother, Odith, was an educator. Their combined influence taught him discipline and resilience, two values that later underpinned his ministry. Jakes was the youngest of 3 children, and from a young age he developed a strong passion for church and preaching. Yet life wasn't smooth. He faced challenges such as a speech impediment, which caused others to underestimate his potential. His peers teased him, and teachers doubted he could achieve much in life. But what seemed like a weakness became a training ground for his perseverance. Jakes found comfort in his faith and began preaching as a teenager, driven by the belief that God had a purpose for him. Jakes found comfort in his faith and began preaching as a teenager, driven by the belief that God had a purpose for him. When his father fell ill with kidney disease, Jakes had to take on greater responsibilities at home, balancing care for his family with his growing ministry. After his father's passing, the young preacher carried the pain of loss, but transformed it into motivation to serve others. The birth of his ministry. Jakes began his ministry with a small storefront church in Montgomery, West Virginia, in the late 1970s. His first congregation was tiny. Sometimes fewer than a dozen people attended services. He preached with passion, even when his audience was only his wife and a handful of believers. Unlike many who might have been discouraged by such a modest beginning, Jakes believed that faithfulness in small things would open doors to greater opportunities. In 1982, Jakes officially founded the Greater Emmanuel Temple of Faith, which marked the beginning of his pastoral journey. The church grew slowly, but Jakes's reputation as a passionate preacher began spreading through revivals and church conferences. His style was fiery, relatable, and deeply rooted in biblical truth, blending theology with storytelling and practical wisdom. Family life and marriage behind the pulpit. Jakes's life was also being shaped by his marriage. In 1982, he married Sarita Ann Jameson, who would later become First Lady Sarita Jakes. Their relationship has been a pillar of his ministry, marked by resilience and faith. Early in their marriage, they faced a car accident that left Sarita with severe injuries, and doctors doubted her recovery. Jakes stayed by her side, and together they leaned on prayer until she was miraculously restored. The couple has 5 children: Jermaine, Cora, Sarah, Jamar, and Thomas Jakes Jr., all of whom have been involved in ministry or leadership in some way. Among them, Sarah Jakes Roberts has become one of the most recognized voices of the next generation, carrying on her father's legacy while shaping her own ministry. Expansion of his ministry. The 1990s marked a turning point. Jakes released a series of books and preached messages that began to resonate beyond his immediate community. His 1994 book, Woman, Thou Art Loosed, became a national phenomenon. The message, addressed to women dealing with brokenness, abuse, and rejection, struck a chord and established Jakes as a voice for healing and empowerment. This led to conferences that drew thousands of women seeking restoration. By 1996, his influence had grown so large that he relocated to Dallas, Texas, where he founded the Potter's House, a non-denominational megachurch. What began with about 50 families exploded into one of the largest churches in the United States, with tens of thousands of members and millions more connected through media outreach. The Potter's House and global impact. The Potter's House became more than a church. It was a global movement. Through sermons, conferences, and media outreach, Jakes reached audiences across nations. His preaching combined biblical authority with motivational depth, addressing issues such as faith, family, leadership, and personal growth. The church has hosted some of the largest faith gatherings in history, including the MegaFest Conference, which brought together tens of thousands of people for worship, teaching, and entertainment. The Woman, Thou Art Loosed Conference became a sanctuary for women seeking hope and freedom, and his Manpower Conference empowered men to embrace leadership and responsibility. Beyond the pulpit, Jakes embraced technology and media, pioneering televangelism with his broadcasts and later expanding to digital platforms, ensuring his messages reached people worldwide. Career beyond the church. Jakes's influence extended beyond traditional ministry. He became an author of best-selling books, such as He Motions, Soar, Destiny and Crushing. His works tackled spiritual growth, leadership, and personal development, blending biblical principles with practical life lessons. He also ventured into film production, turning messages into movies. The adaptation of Woman, Thou Art Loosed, 2004, and Not Easily Broken, 2009, reached mainstream audiences. Through his entertainment company, he produced faith-based films that carried messages of hope, resilience, and redemption. His voice also entered conversations about politics, economics, and community development. Jakes has met with U.S. presidents, advised leaders, and spoken at global forums, always emphasizing faith, unity, and empowerment. Leadership style and teachings. At the heart of Bishop Jakes's leadership is a message of healing and restoration. He often uses the metaphor of the potter and the clay, reminding people that God can reshape broken lives. His sermons emphasize resilience, forgiveness, and the pursuit of destiny despite challenges. Jakes is known for his ability to connect biblical truth to everyday struggles. Whether speaking about marriage, business, or emotional health, his words resonate with people from all walks of life. He is also deeply committed to mentorship, raising leaders within and outside his church. Challenges and criticisms. No leader rises to prominence without facing scrutiny. Jakes has occasionally faced criticism over prosperity theology, financial transparency, and his association with political figures. Yet he has consistently maintained his focus on ministry, choosing not to be defined by controversies but by the lives transformed through his work. Legacy and ongoing impact today, Bishop T.D. Jakes is regarded as one of the most influential preachers of his generation. His legacy is not just in the Potter's House but in the millions of people impacted by his ministry across the globe. From books to films, from sermons to conferences, his work has crossed cultural, racial, and generational boundaries. As he transitions into mentoring the next generation, leaders like his daughter Sarah Jakes Roberts and many others are rising under his guidance. His life's work continues to inspire both Christians and non-Christians to pursue purpose and healing. The story of Bishop T.D. Jakes is one of resilience, vision, and impact. From a young boy in West Virginia with a speech impediment to a global spiritual leader, his life exemplifies how faith and persistence can turn trials into triumphs. His ministry has empowered women, restored families, inspired leaders, and expanded the reach of the church into new territories. As the years go by, his legacy will continue to echo in pulpits, books, films, and transformed lives around the world. Bishop T.D. Jakes remains not just a preacher, but a voice of hope, leadership, and destiny for generations past, present, and to come. I would love to go deep into the lives of all Bishop T.D. Jakes' children, but that would take so much time for this video. So instead, let me briefly run through each of them, along with his wonderful wife, Sarita Jakes, the First Lady of the Potter's House. Behind every great man of God, there is often a woman of faith, resilience, and quiet strength. For Bishop T.D. Jakes, that woman is Sarita Ann Jakes, his beloved wife. Born on August 19, 1955, Sarita's life journey is one marked by grace and courage. Before stepping into the limelight of ministry, Sarita endured personal challenges, tragic loss, moments of struggle, and battles that shaped her into the strong woman she is today. Married to T.D. Jakes in 1982, Sarita has stood faithfully by his side through every season of ministry. Together, they weathered storms and celebrated victories, raising 5 children while building one of the largest and most influential ministries in the world. Sarita is more than just the bishop's wife. She is a ministry leader, speaker, and author in her own right. At the Potter's House in Dallas, she serves as the executive director of Women's and Children's Affairs, overseeing programs that empower women, support families, and encourage spiritual growth. Her book, The Princess Within, became a powerful resource for women seeking healing from brokenness and insecurity. Her strength is also evident in her personal testimony of surviving a terrible car accident before her marriage, an incident that left her with severe injuries. Yet her recovery was not just physical, it was spiritual. She often shares how God's grace carried her through the darkest days. Today, Sarita is known as a motherly figure to the church, often seen ministering with a gentle but powerful voice that uplifts thousands. Her role in T.D. Jakes' life cannot be overstated. While Bishop Jakes is often seen as the face of the ministry, Sarita is the steady backbone, helping to nurture the family, keep the ministry grounded, and inspire women globally. 2. Jermaine Jakes, the firstborn son. The eldest of the Jakes children, Jermaine Jakes was born in 1979. As the firstborn, Jermaine carried both privilege and pressure, being the son of a world-renowned preacher. Unlike some of his siblings, Jermaine has largely chosen a private life, away from the public stage. While Jermaine did not step into pastoral ministry like his father, he has been actively engaged in behind-the-scenes work at the Potter's House, especially in the area of production and event coordination. His quiet and low-profile personality often makes him less visible compared to his siblings, but he has played an important role in supporting his family's ministry. Jermaine's life has not been without controversy. In 2009, he faced a legal challenge that briefly put him in the media spotlight. However, the Jakes family, being deeply rooted in faith, handled the situation with discretion and prayer. Today, Jermaine is known for keeping out of the limelight, living a life away from public scrutiny while maintaining close ties with his family. His story reminds us that being a pastor's child comes with unique pressures, and each individual chooses their own path. For Jermaine, that path may not have been the pulpit, but it is still a part of the larger Jakes family journey of faith and resilience. 3. Cora Jakes, the faith warrior. Born in 1987, Cora Jakes is one of Bishop Jakes' most vocal and passionate children. Known for her fiery faith and bold preaching style, Cora has carved out her own place in ministry. She serves as the executive director of Destiny House Children's Ministry at the Potter's House, where she pours her heart into teaching young people about God. Cora's journey has been marked by both triumph and trial. For years, she has been open about her struggle with infertility, a battle that could have silenced many. Instead, she used her story as a platform to inspire others. In her book, Faithing It, Bringing Purpose Back to Your Life, Cora encourages people to live with unshakable faith, even when life doesn't turn out as expected. She is a motivational speaker, prayer warrior, and counselor to many who feel broken or hopeless. Her honesty about her pain has made her relatable to countless women around the world. Through social media, conferences, and sermons, Cora continues to prove that faith is not about what you see, but about what you believe. In her personal life, Cora was married to Richard Brandon Coleman, and they adopted 2 children together. Although the marriage ended in divorce, Cora's focus on God and her children remains unwavering. She often shares about resilience, healing, and spiritual warfare, teaching others how to overcome life's obstacles with prayer and persistence. Cora's boldness makes her one of the most recognized voices among the Jakes children. She is an example of how trials can be transformed into testimonies when faith is the foundation. 4. Thomas Jakes Jr., the youngest son with his own vision. The youngest of the Jakes family is Thomas Dexter Jakes Jr., affectionately called Dex. Born in 1994, Dex represents the new generation of the Jakes legacy. Like his siblings, he grew up under the spotlight of his father's ministry, but he has been carving his own path with creativity and vision. Thomas Jr. has shown a keen interest in business, media, and creativity. While he does not often stand in the pulpit, he contributes to ministry and outreach in unique ways, especially by connecting with younger audiences. He is involved in leadership roles and has worked to expand the family's influence beyond the church into community programs and social initiatives. What makes Dex stand out is his entrepreneurial spirit. Unlike his siblings who focus heavily on direct ministry, he has embraced both faith and modern creativity, blending them to reach audiences in fresh ways. As the youngest, he also carries the energy of youth and often provides a bridge between the church and younger generations. Many believe he will continue to rise as a strong leader, not only in ministry, but also in social and entrepreneurial spheres. 5. Jamar Jakes, the media strategist. Born in 1979, Jamar Jakes is another son who works mostly behind the scenes. While Sarah and Cora often take the stage, Jamar contributes to the ministry through media, branding, and business strategy. He is deeply involved in the operations of the Potter's House and TDJ Enterprises, which manages Bishop Jakes' books, films, and conferences. Jamar's focus has been on using media and technology as tools for ministry. He has played a role in film productions, including the faith-based movies produced under TD Jakes' brand. By helping shape the media direction, Jamar ensures that the message of hope and faith reaches a broader audience worldwide. Though not a preacher, Jamar embodies the modern side of ministry, where storytelling, technology, and digital platforms are just as powerful as the pulpit. Together, the Jakes family represents a blend of ministry, resilience, creativity, and faith. Bishop T.D. Jakes and Lady Sarita have raised children who are each unique, each walking their own paths while contributing to the greater mission of faith and influence. Some, like Sarah and Cora, take the spotlight with books, sermons, and conferences. Others, like Jermaine, Jamar, and Thomas Jr., work behind the scenes or live more privately. But what binds them together is the legacy of faith they carry from their parents. The Jakes family is a reminder that ministry is not just about the person on stage, but about the family, the structure, and the unity that supports the vision. Sarita's grace, the children's unique callings, and Bishop Jakes' leadership together form a legacy that continues to inspire millions around the world.